Hello, everyone. So today I'm going to talk about HDR images. Um, and the image that you'll see on your screen right now is kind of an example of how you can do an HDR image and make it look correct. But far too often, HDR images are look very wrong to the eye. Um, so you have to be careful. And what you need to understand is the reason HDR images can be powerful is your camera sensor by itself is never going to be as sensitive nor um, will it ever have the tonal range of your eye. And creating an HDR image is an attempt or an effort to get as close to the eye as possible. And a lot of times this happens when you're shooting indoors, shooting out through a window, or you're shooting indoors and there's just a window in your scene, but you want the details of both the outside scene and the inside scene visible. So you can compile multiple images to create a quote unquote HDR image. You'll see this particularly when you see pictures of cathedrals and churches that have intricate stained glass windows. In a normal picture in that situation, if the interior is exposed correctly, then the window will be overexposed. So to capture that HDR image, you would underexpose for the interior, expose correctly for the window, and then you would slightly increase the exposure, which will start to blow out your window, but you'll start capturing details of the interior, and then take another image to gather even more details and raise the details in the shadows. And then you can combine those three images in Photoshop to create an HDR image. Photoshop has a built-in function for HDR images, and it does a good job of combining them. I am not going to show you how to do that. It is not my forte. I don't like HDR images. Um, I think it's, to me, it's a lot of work for not very much gain, unless you happen to be a person who shoots cathedrals and churches. Um, I am not that person. So um, I just wanted to cover the topic and kind of show you today what that would look like in the end. And here we have the window, interior of the window is correctly exposed, and you can accurately see both the interior of the window and the exterior scene just fine. Where on the left, we have the uh, underexposed image, um, greatly underexposed image that uh, shows the detail outside and kind of shows the edges of the window inside. And it's very important to combine um, underexposed and slightly underexposed and a slightly overexposed and definitely you have to use a tripod for this to work. So that's basically it. It is a tool that you can use. Um, so I definitely wanted to bring this up. And your camera, if you have a relatively new-ish camera from the last 5 years or so, is going to have exposure bracketing built into the camera, which will make creating the HDR image easy. In fact, some of the newest cameras can create the HDR image in camera. And I suspect that's a much better picture that you're going to get than combining these in Photoshop. Photoshop does a good job, but Photoshop can create um, a photo that looks um, completely wrong. And you'll know those pictures when you see them. There's a lot of photographers out there that went crazy in HDR. They're very easy to find on the internet. Um, and I played with it in the early days when it came out as a function in Photoshop, and I made the decision it was not for me. Now, like I said, it is a method of bringing out and equalizing shadows and highlights and creating uh, tone variations that try to more closely match the eye. Now, all that being said, um, Hasselblad, particularly their XCD cameras, um, their color science creates an almost HDR-ish image without um, any post-processing. It just does it because that's how good the color science is in the Hasselblad XCD based cameras. So anyway, keep that in mind, play with it. Um, and again, I'm not showing it to you because I don't really know what the correct settings are to get a good HDR image that doesn't look fake. Um, so I'm going to leave that for you to play with and learn on your own. Anyway, um, I hope you enjoy the content of this channel. And if you do, I would appreciate a like and subscribe. As info, I am launching a new channel where I basically cover 41 years of photography and working in the IT industry. Um, and I've done photography professionally and still at this point am getting back into doing more professional work uh, that I sell. So I'll put a link in the description to that channel and look for videos coming there soon. This channel I am going to continue to maintain. However, uh, I probably won't be posting as frequently on this channel anymore. It's probably going to be only one or maybe two videos per month, uh, depending on what's happening. Also, this is kind of the last of the Masters of Photography series. So going forward, what you're going to see more is more shooting in the field, and I will go through and show you how I process the images that I capture. I'm currently working on a video. We recently went to um, Riverside Sunset Park here in Indy, Atlantic, Florida, and I'm putting together a video, and I captured a very nice pano picture on that trip. So anyway, um, thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll see you next week. Bye now.